welcome to Check Out This Guy, the podcast where we check out the guys, and sometimes they run away at great speed, and we wonder where they went. My name is Izzy. I use she pronouns.
My name is Morg. I use they, he pronouns. And I'm following them underground.
My name's Quatre. I use they, he, she, and I'm just... Once they get away from me, I'm so bad at following directions. I don't know where they went. They said right, but I went left, and you know how that goes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there are guys. We're in charge of them. We get to make their decisions theoretically. But this episode... Yeah, but this is episode where we talk about the times where it turned out that's not true. They're in charge.
They're like, it's my city now.
They make their own choices. So proud of them.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Yeah, they're like, oh, you thought you were gonna make me go through this arc or do this shit? Well, hell no, surprise.
Yeah, I know a couple that at least Izzy are going to talk about. I don't know if I know the ones that...
Yeah. Oh, you know the two that I would like to talk about.
Yeah.
And part of the info is going to be new to the other people in the games, even.
Ooh, exclusive information.
Would anyone else like to go first?
I can start us off with a really short one.
Okay.
The first time I joined an RPG group, I made world's most generic elf. As in, I googled, how do I build an elf? And I just copy-pasted those stats.
Good.
Hell yes.
So I just bullshitted the background a bit, and I'd made this elf, and as we know, every character I make is ace. So this character was also ace. And then that was the intention. First session we do, I have some money in my pocket. I'm like, I want to go to the store. I want to buy a hat. The hat costs more than my character can afford. I do what I saw on Tumblr you're supposed to do in this situation, and I rolled to seduce. And I succeed. So I get a hat. And we do this a couple of times. I didn't remain in this campaign very long because I had to work on the hours that the campaign was. But this happened a couple of times until the point where I was like, this character isn't ace anymore. This character is has a weird sexuality where they're willing to fuck anyone as long as they get a hat out of it. And eventually she got written out of the campaign because I had to work every Wednesday afternoon.
Aww.
Yeah, and she married the owner of the store.
What was her name?
I don't remember.
Oh.
It's been so long. It was the most generic possible character. She's I don't really call her one of my OCs because she is the most copy-pasted character I have ever made. But I do have some fun drawings of her that I will post when this episode drops, and by then I'll found the name again.
There's a part of me that's like, I want to see the conversation that occurs between her and Arla.
Oh yeah, that's character Arla, who the only piece of clothing she wears are hats, because that's just like common.
She would love that.
That's common for the type of, because the elfin in our game are like bird people that are also wind spirits, so most of their body is wind, and so they only they don't really need to wear clothes, but they do wear hats, and without a hat they're naked.
I'm
naked now.
Yeah, for the audience, there are both elves who are very generic and elfin, which is like Arla in this universe.
Yeah, we love to make things fucking complicated.
Oh boy, do we. I mean, that is kind of this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, do I go or do you want to take a shot, Morg?
I mean, I guess I can like sort of talk about sure, I think I've talked about Frankie on this podcast before, my Eidolon Electric 6 character.
Mm-hmm.
But they were just originally like supposed to be like younger than me, like maybe out of college for like a year or two, and like, you know, working as like a cook at a place that all three of the characters worked at. And they just like, because I was like, I don't know, I haven't thought about like their family. They just don't talk to their family much anymore. Like whatever. Not like I didn't think about it past that. But then it turned into, oh, they don't talk to their family because their dad fucking sucks ass. Because, which is funny because, like, the GM, Symbolic Godzilla, actually, in the Discord, was like, hey, you know, what is your relationship to your, like, family or whatever? I don't remember the exact question they asked, but I was like, oh, I don't think they get along, but I don't know why. And then I found out why through playing, and it's because they had used Frankie and their sibling Beans, Frank and Beans, very funny. That's just their nickname. I think their name is like Ben or something, but as like guinea pigs to like summon the devil in order to fight him. And so they became obsessed. The dad became obsessed with wanting to fight the devil. And so
like a fist fight?
Just in any way imaginable. Just, yeah, a fist fight, but like probably more like a magic fight because it is the devil. But but because of all that, it like changed a lot of like the background that I imagined Frankie having, where I was just like very unspecific. It was very like play to find out, and then I was like, oh, I gave them trauma.
As you do,
which is funny. Like, it's not funny, but it is funny in this case, just because it was unexpected, you know.
You had to clarify that. We all be knowing.
I don't mean to say shit like that just out of left field.
I think people that tune in to this podcast at this point somewhat know what is wrong with us.
But yeah, I'm not.
God, will they tell us?
No, but I know I'm not the only one that has made problematic family members. I don't know if that's what you wanted to talk about first, Izzy.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I was gonna do the other one first.
No, you should.
That's too good of a transition.
Okay, sorry.
Also, you're co-responsible for problematic family members.
Listen,
and
so
on this podcast, we just love a good transition.
The character that Izzy's about to talk about, you know how I was like, oh, Symbolic was the DM for that first one, that I was the DM for this one.
Yeah, so let's talk about Dorothy.
Yeah.
So gosh, I know I've talked about Dorothy on the podcast some, but I don't know if I've ever really gotten into backstory or anything. I don't think I have. So, Dorothy's deal is she was kidnapped as a baby. and the cops eventually found her and arrested her dad and sent him away to prison, and also got him for like some other charges, like weapon and drug running and stuff. So there's all this, and then like her mom sold the rights to the story, and like it got made into multiple like Lifetime movies, and all of this bullshit. Yeah, that backstory is false. She was taken away to the Undertow, this magical like physical. What's the Undertow, Morg? You're better equipped to say that, since it's your campaign.
The Undertow is like in Eidolon Urbex is like a parallel sort of like world that's also like the subconscious of like all the people of the world kind of made reality. It's like it's like a dream world that you can physically go to, kind of, and it's also like it's like got like the more like extreme emotions of like the real human world made physical. Kind of.
Okay, so little baby Dory, that all happens, but her mom she remembers it, at least partially, and it's like, no, that's made up. That's to deal with your trauma. We're gonna send you away to these facilities and shit to make you well. And it's like there's like a lot of fucked upness to that I don't plan on ever getting into with anyone, really, other than, hey, bad situation. So she's now in college. Her mom got rich off of all of this. And there is a trust fund for Dorothy. But it's very restrictive. And she kind of wants to rebel against it, but she's afraid of her mom. So she's like into like rockabilly stuff, which is kind of like, here is a socially acceptable form of rebellion culture. And like she just has to get a degree before she turns 25 in order to not have to deal with all the restrictions on the trust fund anymore. But she's not just gonna go and get any degree. She goes to get a nuclear engineering degree because she's also very smart. And she's basically never had a friend in her life. So that's like the starting point, but the plan for her was for it to be almost just solidly positives. Like, yeah, there'd be some bumps along the road, but it was like, she's out on her own. She's almost at her goal of independence. She's figuring out some things for herself, and it's all gonna be good. And then, like one of the things in the backstory was that, one of the actors that played the sheriff in one of those movies, had started dating her mom.
And I latched onto that.
Yeah, Morg, what did you do?
So I made this gentleman a kind of a bad guy based on maybe a real life actor that I probably shouldn't name.
Yeah, I'm purposely not saying the name, but yeah, it's a well-known actor who's an asshole.
But he also has some political things that he wants to do, perhaps. And he runs for president. He's not based on Trump. I should say he's not actually based on Trump, despite everything.
No. This is an actual, like, well-known actor who's just a piece of shit.
Disclaimer.
Yeah, he runs for president. He also wins.
Mm-hmm.
And then Dorothy goes to visit her mom for Thanksgiving, except it gets moved to be earlier. Like a week or two before Thanksgiving.
Do you want to say why you had to do that also?
Oh, yeah, Emmy's character Snake, broke her dad out of prison. And she, at the time that was happening, like, she knew it was happening. One of the restrictions is that she cannot have any contact with her dad. So she's never visited him, ever since he went to prison. And she was not going to take the chance of losing everything to do the right thing. So yeah, I mean, that's not good on her part. But, so she goes to the lawyer who, is, who's responsible for the trust and is arranging to go for Thanksgiving for the first time in college, and she's a junior now. And so it's like, oh, so she has a good alibi. No one can say that she was involved with the prison breakout.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she goes to Hollywood. The fucker did get elected. And then her entire life collapses.
Oh no.
Her mom is the world's most terrible person. And what?
No, I'm just laughing. I'm sorry. Because I played as her, and I'm glad she came across.
Oh, yeah. So Morg did awesome. Morg made me feel safe through all this, although for personal reasons, I don't clearly remember the details because I think I was ever so slightly dissociating through the experience of this happening to my character.
Oh no.
We talked about it afterwards.
Yeah. It like, it's all good. Like I said, I felt
very important in a D&D session.
Yeah, but like, none of this was supposed to happen.
No.
And then that had a knock-on effect of we're about to hit level 5, and at level 5 you can now qualify for your major level up, which I'm just gonna say it now because we've talked about this. I've referred to it as redacted. I'm not gonna talk about everything, but yeah, she was supposed to take her level 5 power, which was going to change the way her Eidolon power worked from she can turn inanimate objects into an animate equivalent to she can also use that to create chimeras. And that was actually like the plan from before session 1. I was like, okay, I'm picking this power. I want this to happen. There's all this other stuff. And midway through, it was just like, oh, Dorothy has done some bad things. Like, morally bad, out of fear and selfishness. she should pay for this in some way, which led to me going like, more Dorothy must suffer.
Yeah, she's
defend yourself more.
Okay, I'm gonna step in and say she's done things because she's young and fucking in like a youth in college doing dumb shit.
Oh yeah.
Like she wasn't just like, oh, I'm a bad person. She's like, I'm scared and I'm a youth.
Yeah. No, Dorothy is not a bad person, but it, like I said, it's more out of fear than anything.
Yeah.
And, she's just had kind of a shitty life until very recently.
Yeah.
But, no, I was like, I know that, not participating in the prison break is absolutely the true thing for her to have done.
Yeah,
but that's also really shitty of her.
Prison breaks are very complicated, especially because this, even though it is magical and it is like a tabletop game, it is still heavily based in the real world, so there could have been consequences.
Yes.
Snake just has a fucking power that makes it so that's less likely.
Yeah, but there was like a fake or semi-fake photo of her with her dad that her mom got a hold of somehow and used that to threaten Dorothy and was like, okay, you move in with me and you be my good little daughter, or you're done, you're cut off. And Dorothy, actually had, in a way, it was a relief for her because she's like, okay, I've been expecting this for years. The shoe is finally dropped, and she just, left. Which good for her. But character-wise, so that was the plan. And so when we do hit level 5, no, she's taking the option now of a brand new playbook.
Yeah. So at level 5 you can change playbooks instead of getting what's called a master move, which is what Izzy was talking about. She was getting with the can make that into a chimera thing. But no, she's changing playbooks now.
Yeah, she's gonna go from an alchemist to a vanguard for anyone who's familiar with Eidolon.
Vanguards are very fighty. Very driven by their emotions.
I mean, she essentially went. So I'm more familiar with the JoJo side than you.
Yes.
She basically went from a Josuke or Giorno to more of a Jonathan or that type. Just, hey, I'm a punch things now. Yeah, or Jotaro and starting out with Star Platinum.
I think.
So yeah. Yeah. So second time I've had a character who I got to the major level up place as yeah, everything's wrong now. I need to go with the flow. And that makes a really good game and a really good character, in my opinion.
Yay!
Morg's over here, praise me more.
No, I'm just happy because I haven't DM'd in a while,
You're doing good.
Thanks. No, I'm just happy because there had been hints of this with sometimes Dorothy would charge into things because it's just easier to do that, or like whatever, without like that is very like Vanguard play. I'm just like, oh, that's cool. I'm glad you're like leaning on that. I think it's fun that you decided to go in that direction. I think it would have been fun either way, but
yeah. But it was just like, oh, this is definitely like the true thing that the character has kind of done on their own.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
You got another one, Quatre?
The other one I have is the D&D campaign I was in. I had a dwarven character called Flint. I've talked about Flint before. My intention for Flint was to be this really cool, suave, lady killer kind of vibe. I wanted him to be just the best ever. Everyone loves this dude. It turns out to be a fucking loser. So what happened was I did not plan with the others what kind of character I would be making. So I show up to the campaign and I show them my dwarf, and I'm super proud of my dwarf because it's a really cool dwarf. The other players had made a half-elf, and an elf. I'd made a character that was 145 years old. The ages of the other players were 20, 19, 28.
Wait, even the full elf?
Even the full elf was a toddler.
What the fuck?
The first session happens. I'm like, okay, no, I can save this. I'll just be the asshole dad type. I can do this. We can still go for that, like, not good asshole is only in it to break hearts vibe. The player who was playing the elf decides to make her elf racist toward dwarfs.
Oh no!
And I love a good pun. So my entire character just got the entire planning, just threw it away. I made this huge loser instead out of him, whose main goal in any session that we had was to get more jokes in than the elf. That's what we were going for in the end.
Oh my god.
DM, bless him, he thought we were so funny, but thinking back on it must have been so annoying. He must have been so annoying with it. But what was supposed to be an arc of a character that is trying to convince the world that he's not a total prick so that he can marry his latest fling, turned into... I decided to let him be obsessed with his current love and that he's gonna keep that. Whereas my initial idea was, the moment I have enough like goodwill points to marry, I'm gonna leave her.
Jesus.
I'm just gonna do it like that. Yeah, I'm a real asshole. And I was like, I can't do that anymore. Also, the DM clearly likes really likes the love interest. Like he really liked putting her into the plot. And I was like, I can't do that to him. Yeah. I can't be like, yeah, I'm gonna ditch this one. So it's not so much that Flint ran away from me. It is that Flint and I arrived to a completely different story than we thought we were getting into. So I had to make this dude who's really devoted to his love, and who will in fact betray everyone around him to get his love. But he will never betray her, which was what he was supposed to do. God damn it.
He's a wife guy.
He is the worst wife guy you'll ever meet. Because he does in fact love his wife, but he also really loves himself. And that is that clashes sometimes.
Fair.
Because she is, in fact, an upstanding citizen. And for those who forgot, Flint very much became a pirate because he fell in love with another pirate and then instantly ditched that pirate and just went off being a pirate on another ship.
Uh-huh.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
He's such a loser. He was supposed to be cool. I keep trying to make cool characters. And I make losers. So sad.
Well, it's because you're consciously trying to make them cool.
True. Anyone who tries to be cool instantly fails.
Yeah.
I want to get him a parrot. I keep trying to get that into the campaign, but it's been fridged now, so if we ever have another campaign, I don't care how I have to do it, I'm bringing that parrot in. He needs to have a parrot.
Yeah, you just need, you can always force the issue by taking a level of something that gets a familiar.
True. I mean, it was supposed to be full fighter because I didn't want to tank during combat because I'd been playing too many complicated builds. And then I think I'm gonna have to take a level of rogue because the elf is a rogue and I spend a lot of times fighting with the elf. So at some point, I'm gonna have to pick up some rogue points just for storytelling because we spend so much time together. Jesus. If this was an anime, people would be shipping those characters. That's how bad that is.
Yeah.
We don't, because...
Is this the elf that hates dwarves?
Yes, of course.
Yeah,
we're constantly fighting. The other player already took a level in fighter, yeah.
Rivals to lovers is a real thing, so... Yeah,
I don't think I'll be able to convince the other player of that.
No.
That sounds like they're be so cool, but I gotta stay loyal. I gotta stay loyal to my current love interest. It sounds like it'd be more.
It sounds like it's more fun to just be like friendly rivals. I'm just saying, like the ship wise.
It's enemies to besties.
Yeah.
Where I constantly keep insulting. Obviously.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously.
Yeah. I'm not gonna become less racist because one elf has my begrudging respect.
God.
I also gave him a cool hat. I am obsessed with giving my characters hats, is what I'm realizing as well.
That's fucking well.
Yeah, just a distinctive hat tells you so much about a person. It's one of them real pirate hats.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So good.
Flint's fun.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of really elaborate things to say because I tend to play short campaigns because I have a short attention span and I just love to start a new campaign and then make a new character.
What ends up happening is we think we're gonna do a short campaign and then it doubles in length. So that's, yeah.
Or my campaign was, this is gonna be a long campaign. And then
you still doubled it somehow.
Well, no, because then we played a full campaign. I was like, well, that was just the starter. Now here's the real campaign.
It's that game of, do you want to end this campaign or double it and give it to the next person?
Mm-hmm.
It's funny, for as long as that campaign is that we're talking about, the Fellowship one, I feel like for as many changes as, like, Treble made, like, they were still very, like, themselves, you know?
Yeah.
Like, they were just like, oh, okay, so I just leaned more on certain things than other things. They weren't, you know, instead of being big fighty, they were more like big magical angel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you did seem to struggle with picking a direction at a couple of points.
Yeah, I think it was more just like the emphasis I wanted to place on it. Like, even though I had an idea of like how Treble acted and stuff, it was which is why even though like they went from ogre to what was the one before they became the lantern? Oh yeah, it must have been ogre, archangel, lantern, guardian.
Yep, that was it.
They were always like big, nice, gentle giant type, but also like from the beginning had been like influenced by void stuff, because you were like, hey, do you want the ogres to be the ones that aren't like bothered by the void because they already had like a run-in with them, kind of? And I was like, yes. And then I started focusing on that, and I was like, okay, what if their magic is related to this instead also? So I just like, the only change there I guess I made was like, I made a character who didn't think they had like any magic at all into like one of the most like powerful magic characters I've played. And like that sounds like, oh, that is a big change, but I feel like that's a protagonist journey. That's just being, you know, not that they were. It's like every character is kind of their own protagonist in Fellowship.
So can we address Treble's epilogue?
Oh yeah, I don't know. Did I ever bring that up on this podcast?
I'm not sure. But
yeah, I guess that was maybe the biggest like character shift.
I thought Treble was going to reject the deal with the devil, so to speak.
Yeah, that was probably, you're right. Yeah, I guess that is the biggest character shift, because like they had this relationship to a character who was heavily implied to be the serpent, or at least related to the serpent of Eden from the Bible.
No, like yeah, that's just outright. I'm gonna say yes. In this universe, they were also the serpent.
I would like to say the reason I said it was implied to be is because there's a lot of myth making in the game itself, where like even all the stuff that happened in the Bible probably did not happen on Earth for real, quite like that.
True.
That's all I mean, was like it was implied to be him, but like there's differences. We're not just like, we're gonna take the Bible and make that real.
No. Correct.
That's all I meant. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
But they also have like elements of being like the demiurge from like Gnostic stuff, wherein like they made the earth, but they're just not like the one, you know, then they kind of made it and abandoned it, kind of. I'm saying this very loosely. Like, he didn't fully abandon it because he was there, but like abandoned more or less.
Yes, similar vibes, but did not create and didn't quite abandon.
Right, like he heavily influenced it.
Wait, are you using Earth literal or Earth for ESO?
Both.
Okay.
He had influence in both.
Yes, this is true.
Yes.
This may seem a little bit awkward to the listeners, but there is just some hidden information about Troy the Destroyer that I've just never told anyone. So, yeah. So I'm just taking the opportunity to clarify a couple things.
Sorry, yeah, I know we're just throwing all this shit in at the end here, but I just was like, I just want to be like, he is the devil, and I made a deal with the devil.
Yes.
Because I was already starting to become, like, friends with this guy, in the sense that, like, Trouble is very nice. And I said that as, like, that makes it sound like, oh, that's very, like, general to call a character nice. But they're, like, very patient.
Yes.
Also. And that includes with assholes. Yes. Like this guy, Troy.
Oh, Troy was also semi based off of Peter Capaldi, Doctor Who.
Mm-hmm. And you can feel it.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is Doctor Who, okay.
Uh-huh.
Not quite, but he's there.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to some people, the Doctor might be the devil. Anyway, this is fucking stupid, sorry.
We very briefly had this crossover with, what's the podcast called?
Doctor Huh.
Doctor Huh.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But he's not the enemy, that's, Moffat. Anyway. So, yeah, but Treble was, like, just going back to kind of, like, clear up some loose ends with people, including with Troy. And Troy was like, hey, so you kind of did what I couldn't do and, like, destroyed the void that was consuming everything. And I don't know exactly what to do with myself anymore, because that was, like, my life's work. Do you want me to, like, teach you how to be, like, even stronger, more or less? Do you want me to unlock your potential? And at first, it was like, you know, there was a lot of, like, oh, Treble would Treble do this? In some ways, no. But in some ways, due to everything else with, like, their friends and, like, their experiences and the fact that they were already changing, they were already, like, becoming kind of more of a weird biblical angel anyway. They went through with it.
Yeah.
And they were like, yes.
Yeah. And so Treble is effectively a god now.
Yeah. And part of that was perhaps for doiliest reasons more so than I would like to admit, because I'd like to run the third campaign, and if I was able to have Treble have some influence in the third campaign in this world, that would be fucking sick.
Yeah, like the offer was made because there was a chance. I could see Treble doing it. I was a little bit surprised. It was like, oh, like, I was guessing like maybe 1 in 5 chance.
I think it had gotten that low because I had kept going back and forth between Treble and their little lantern friend, Core. But I eventually did go through with it, and I'm like, you know, if someone was watching this because it was a TV show or something, they might be like, they would never do that. But Treble's my character, I'm sorry.
And Treble clearly did do that, though, so...
Yeah, I thought it made good sense for Treble to do that. Treble was also very nice and very attached to their friends.
And they still are. And that... If you're a otherworldly being attached to earthly things, that can cause issues. Lots and lots of issues.
Yep.
But they will not run into this for multiple years. It's fine.
It's fine.
I did run into this whole thing of like, oh no, is Treble going to die before Arla?
Nope.
The answer is no. But also, Arla might also be a god. So, who knows? They might both live a long time.
Arla is at least...
Is a dreamer.
Yeah, at least a dreamer, probably a dragon. There is almost a 100% overlap between these two things, but it doesn't necessarily have to be so.
It's also like, are dreamers considered God? You know, there's a lot of like weird mythology there.
What Treble is now, which I never came up with a name for it. But whatever that is definitely a level beyond dragons. Because Troy created the concept of dragons.
But is it a level beyond dreamers?
Yes, because Troy created the concept of dreamers also.
We have to talk to Pat about that, because I'm not 100% sure on that.
Oh, no, because the, dreamers and dragons exist because the Argent Dreamer was created by Troy. And that was the first dragon and the first dreamer.
Right, yes. Yes. Sorry. You should talk about your character.
Yeah, sorry, going off into the weeds, but I love talking about that shit. Okay, let's talk like I normally do about some Xenu. Which, we've talked about Xenu and Remnants in general multiple times, so I won't get into that, but I will say Xenu was supposed to just be an evil or semi-evil character who was a lot more of a typical Remnant. Just a total piece of shit, selfish asshole that will destroy anyone and everyone to make their life more convenient.
I am shaking your hands in making characters that are absolute assholes, or trying to.
Yeah. So that was kind of the starting point. She was supposed to be way more typical of Remnants. And she got softened a lot from her companions, but I always planned on her to be like, okay, yeah, this is a character who's bad, and they're going to learn how to be a better person. Which I just fulfilled that in the next campaign with Eggman. But But so the original plan was okay, and I guess I fulfilled part of this by accident, with Dorothy also, but she was supposed to get to the midpoint of the campaign, or around level 5, which in the actual campaign, that is the point at which Emmy would describe it as her receiving her transition surgery. That was not the plan.
I know.
That happened by circumstance. What was supposed to happen was she was supposed to go up against what was at the time the Overlord, Lance, the hero, and she was supposed to lose, and I had something I wanted to ask Dan as the GM to do as the offer you can't refuse. Which was, oh, hey, you've been modifying your form and growing more cat-like. Well, just go all the way. And be forced into being changed into basically a mindless wild animal, and to take the beast playbook. And then from there, kinda start over and be a better person, once she became a person again. So that was the plan.
Mm-hmm.
Very different from what happened.
What a surprise.
Uh-huh. Surprisingly, that was short for me talking about Xenu.
What, did she end up winning?
No, she still lost, but even though I tried to, I had this idea, and I was trying to make it happen, and I realized kind of last minute that I am really just forcing this and it doesn't feel right anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So, no, she still got kind of fucked up in the fight, but she didn't get taken out.
Yeah, because I was like, you never actually got an offer you can't refuse there.
No, I don't think an offer you can't refuse ever came up in the entire campaign, actually.
It came up twice in our second one, and only because the player wanted it to.
Uh-huh.
Literally, Pat was like, what if I die here? I'm going to kill my character here, kind of. That's not the words that he said.
Yeah.
But he was like, hey, I'm gonna last a long time doing this powerful thing that drains your energy, and you can do whatever you want with it.
Yeah. To be clear, Pat had a move that just after you use it and accomplish your thing, you're then automatically taken out.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And then he also was like, what if I go inside this big monster's stomach and just die?
Uh-huh.
So these were both, I'm going to die on purpose for reasons that make sense in context, I promise.
Mm-hmm.
These are arcs for my character.
Uh-huh.
Very good. Very good.
God, and that kind of got me to revamp the final section of the campaign from what I would have done otherwise.
Yeah. So sometimes the characters make the world around them change instead.
Uh-huh.
I just think it's funny because of like what Arlo is doing and stuff. Like it just seems like I'm like she's kind of a god now. Like she kind of is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. The power level in that campaign is very strange.
I mean, in the same way that Jimmy Buffett is, sort of.
No way. I think she's stronger than Jimmy Buffett is.
Well, yeah, she's a player character.
Well, okay. That's true. But I just mean, like, I don't know, man. I think, like, there's a difference, though.
Uh-huh.
With how, like, Jimmy Buffett was laid out as, like, okay, this is fucking stupid. I'm going back into the whole Dragons and Dreamers thing again. I'm sorry.
Uh-huh. No, it's fine. It's very complicated, and I well, it's a lot simpler than we make it out to be. Just think of it as two very overlapping categories of just very powerful beings, because the universe recognizes the need for that being to exist.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hey, I'ma do plugs. Because I keep forgetting I actually do have something to plug that it was like, oh, I didn't realize that I did have something to plug. And that is, I don't know when it's gonna come out, but I also don't know when this episode is gonna come out. But I did a little voice acting role for, friend of the show, other Izzy's podcast, SCP Research Archives. So you will get to hear me on that at some point. And I'll let you know it is unhinged. So go check that out. That's my only plug.
Yeah, it's such a good plug, though. My only plug is that you can follow me on Instagram, Quatre_cosplay, or on Tumblr, matchfromcouchen.tumblr.com. My current obsession is Dungeon Meshi, so that's what you will find there.
I feel like that's a lot of Tumblr's obsession right now.
I just love it. It was made for me. Sorry.
You can find me at Haunting the Morg on Tumblr, Blue Sky. You can find me at Gengar and Co-host. You can also find me on my other podcast, The Sonic Hustle, a complete and total Sonic lore podcast. You can also find us at Check Out the Sky on Tumblr, and actually I think it's Tumblr and Blue Sky, but I never fucking post to Blue Sky as well as Co-host. It's all Check Out the Sky on all of those things. All one word. And then we have Discord. And that's where you actually find Izzy.
Yeah, that's where you can find me, if you should choose to approach me.
Oh, you're approaching me?
Oh, we're getting closer?
Yes, exactly. Here, let me just move you down these stairs real quick. Yeah, come by. I don't know what we're gonna be doing for our next group watch because we haven't decided. But basically we do streams every Monday and Friday at 7 Eastern time, I believe.
Yep. I think that's it. So, you guys have to help me. I dug down a little too deep into where our characters were escaping, and I'm like kind of stuck in this hole.
Oh no, do we have to pull you out?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I don't think this hole was actually made for me after all, but
Oh no, you crawled into the wrong hole.
Yeah.
The hole changed when you weren't looking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I reached my hand down to help pull you out and instead just tumble in also.
No.
At this point, I will help you. Of course, I will definitely help you, but I need to get a laugh out first, and I need to post some pictures of this on social media.
No.
Uh-huh.
We're gonna get eaten by the cave before you're done.
Oh god, I'm gonna feel so guilty
some Ted
about
the
that.
Caver
I'm gonna
shit.
have to be so heartfelt at y'all's funerals.
Yeah, but we'll finally get some sleep.
Yeah.
As will you, Quatre.
Anyway, goodbye.
Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.